Hi there, my name is Mr. Pete. I am a 4th grade teacher. I am currently reading The Tale of Despereaux by Kate DiCamillo. We are rolling through this book now, heading to chapter 11. The Threadmaster is coming to send Despereaux to the dungeon, I think. Everybody in the Mouse Council has decided to send him to the dungeon, and there is a lot of stress. They can't believe that this mouse has gone in front of the king and the princess and declared his love. Most of them think it's time for him to go. And it's all because of his own family. All right, here we go. Chapter 11, The Threadmaster Cometh. Let's find out what happens as we head into the first quarter of this book. When Despereaux came to, he heard the drum. His father was beating a rhythm that had much more boom and much less tat. Together, Lester and the drum produced an ominous, highlight, evil, sound that went something like this. Boom, 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 tat. Boom, 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 tat. Onomatopoeia. Highlight that. Boom, 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 tat. Make way for the thread, cried a mouse who was pushing a wooden spool of red thread through the crowd. Make way for the thread. Boom, 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 tat, went the drum. To the dungeon, shouted the mice. Despereaux lay on his back, blinking his eyes. How, he wondered, had things gone so terribly wrong? Wasn't it a good thing to love? In the story, in the book, love was a very good thing. Because the knight loved the fair maiden, he was able to rescue her. They lived happily ever after. It said so. In the book, they were the last words on the page. Happily ever after. Despereaux was certain that he had read exactly those words time and time again. Lying on the floor with the drum beating and the mice shouting and the Threadmaster calling out, "Make way! Make way!" Despereaux had a sudden chilling thought. Had some other mouse eaten the words that spoke the truth? Did the knight and the fair maiden really not live happily ever after? Reader, do you believe that there is such a thing as happily ever after? Or, like Despereaux, have you too begun to question the possibility of happy endings? Happily ever after, whispered Despereaux. Happily ever after, he said again as the spool of thread came to a stop beside him. The thread, the thread, the thread, murmured the mice. I'm sorry, said the mouse behind the spool, but I have to ask you to stand up. I have to do my job. Despereaux got slowly to his feet. On your hind legs, please, said the Threadmaster, new character. It's the rules. Despereaux stood on his hind legs. Thank you, said the mouse. I appreciate it. While Despereaux watched, the Threadmaster unwound a length of red thread from the spool and tied a loop. Just enough for the neck, muttered the mouse. No more, no less. That's what the last Threadmaster taught me. Enough thread for the neck. He looked up at Despereaux and then back down to the loop of thread. And you, my friend, have a small neck. The Threadmaster raised his arms and put them around Despereaux's neck. He leaned in close, and Despereaux smelled celery. He could feel the Threadmaster's breath in his ear as he worked at tightening the thread. Is she beautiful? The Threadmaster whispered. What? Said Despereaux. Shh. Is the princess beautiful? The Princess P? Yes. She is lovely beyond all imagining, said Despereaux. Just right, the Threadmaster said. He drew back. He nodded his head. A lovely princess, just so, like a fairy tale. And you love her as a knight loves a maiden. You love her with a courtly love, a love that is based on bravery and courtesy and honor and devotion. Just so. How do you know that? Despereaux said. How do you know about fairy tales? Shh. The mouse leaned in close, and Despereaux smelled celery again, green and alive. "Be brave, friend," whispered the Threadmaster. "Be brave for the princess." And then he stepped back and turned and shouted, "Fellow mice, the thread has been tied. The thread has been knotted." So he's knotting this thread around his neck. It's kind of, I'm guessing, a symbol that he's being sent to the dungeon. But he's being respectful. He's telling him to be brave. He's being very professional. That's the Threadmaster's job, apparently, and he's done it well. I don't know if he's done it before, but someone else had the job before him and showed him how to do it. A roar of approval went up from the crowd. Despereaux squared his shoulders. He had made a decision. He would do as the Threadmaster had suggested. He would be brave for the princess. Even if, reader, could it be true? There was no such thing as happily ever after. All right, we'll stop there. Heading to chapter 12, adieu, goodbye. And Despereaux is sort of losing hope. And this Threadmaster has told him to be brave, and he listens to the Threadmaster and has decided, I'm going to be brave. It's going to be okay. As he's about to head to the dungeon with this red thread around his neck, wonder what's going to happen. Of course, we'll find out. I mean, if the chapter is called Adieu, goodbye, we're going to be saying goodbye to someone. Could it be Despereaux to the dungeon? All right, to everyone who's reading this, thank you so much. In my class, make sure you know the setting. Make sure you know all of those awesome lit terms that we've been talking about, and make sure you take really good notes. To everybody else, make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe. Please leave comments below and be a part of this community. Help build it up. Tell a friend. Have everybody in your family subscribe. I don't know. Maybe they won't ever read a book with me. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll go into my page. They'll read a book. They'll go to the Wednesday Wars, one of the greatest books of all time, and they'll start reading and they'll go, this is the greatest book I have ever had read to me. And they'll have a book of their own and they'll analyze it with me and they'll learn about Vietnam. Or maybe they'll just read The Tale of Despereaux because they really like fairy tales and they love my awesome accent. Either way, I thoroughly appreciate everybody who's reading this book with me and taking part. It is a true passion, and thank you for sharing that passion on a daily basis. All right, I will see all of you in chapter 12. Adieu on the next page. Peace.